Scope caps. I've only reviewed a few other scope caps in the past, but because I got the Maven RS 1.2 in their full kit, these were included. As you can see on the side, they are specifically made for the Maven RS 1.1. So, very nice to see. If you were to buy these individually, or independently rather, basically just from Aadland.com or whatever their website is, this set is $100. But if you buy it with a Maven optic, that goes down to way less than that because it's only $100 for these caps and these rings on top of the scope. Inside the box, you have your front and your rear cap. We're going to look at the rear first. You can see they already have Maven on there, their logo on the back, and made in the USA. I do believe that these are sintered 3D printed, which is a form of additive manufacturing. Very large spring in there. Allows for a lot of positive pressure to open this thing with authority. Nice large pin on top. And I love the fact that these basically fold almost perfectly flat. Wonderful. The thumb button over here is to open it quickly with your, not with your support hand. Push forward, and then on the front, you'd push forward on this, which would be a lot easier if it was on the scope, and it would open up. Both the front and the rears have the exact same spring mechanism, which is wonderful to see. And we have a nice little stop over here to rest up on that part of the front cap. It looks like if you wanted to remove this, they might even be able to fit a little bit lower, but maybe they'll come down a little bit too much and then this will start hitting the scope tube. So I could see why they want this to be stopping right there. Now, these do not have any sort of O-rings or any sort of seals to prevent water from getting inside. It relies solely on a very precise fit, and you could hear just how aggressive these two components click together. Very, very reassuring. Same thing for the rear. Obviously, it's going to have a slightly different tone because it's a much smaller diameter, but they feel and sound fantastic. That almost hurt my ears. As far as the weight on this pair of caps, on my scale, 1.6 ounces. That is not a lot. I no longer have, unfortunately, my Vortex Defender caps because I sold them along with the Razer HD Gen 2. 4.5 to 27 by 56 because I never used it. It was a benchmark optic. I used it to compare against a lot of other high-powered variable optics, but it just didn't fit the role on this channel anymore. So as a result, I no longer have my favorite caps on the market, but I do have a bunch of cheap set of Butler Creeks, which are going to be a lot lighter. Obviously, these are a lot smaller as well, and they serve their purpose very well. This being a very small rear, and this being a quite small front. Sizing on these are kind of hard to get a hold of and figure out. They do have a rubberized boot that slides over the optic, and that also prevents water or contaminants from getting in. However, I wouldn't go as far as to say that these are waterproof by any stretch of the imagination. And if you don't have a perfect fit with this on the outside of the scope, you might have to wrap up a piece of tape on it, electrical tape, for example, and slide it on and hope that it stays. I would not recommend gluing them on because if it breaks and you have to take it off, now you have to worry about glue getting inside. Another set of caps that are also very popular are from Tenebrex. They are also significantly lighter than the AAD mounts, or AAD caps, or the Aadland caps, whatever, however you want to word it. So they are a lot heavier, but we're still talking about less than an ounce versus the Tenebrex. Now, the Tenebrex are made in Canada, but they unfortunately have to lock in on a very small machined lip on the optic itself. It's not going to be for every optic on the market. So you can't just buy a set of these and expect to throw it on your optic. You're going to buy these, and probably because you have a Nightforce or a Steiner that has the scallop cut on the front objective and the rear ocular housing. And that's the only real way that you could use Tenebrex. Another thing is they don't fold flat. You could bend them back a little bit, but you could see that they're still quite elevated. I am a much larger fan of that because it blocks less of our view downrange, whether it's of the elevation turret or just downrange in general. So I have the Maven RS 1.2 in front of me, and I have the rear cap. Now, to attach these, it's very simple. Take the included Allen key, come over here to the socket cap screw like so, and make sure that it is loose. You can see on the bottom we have a little hex nut, and that is captive. You don't want the screw to come all the way out because you don't want to accidentally try to find center and then push the nut out. So we're just going to make sure that we have a couple threads loose on that, and that should be good enough. Should only have to slide this on the back of the optic, like so. We're going to open it up to make sure that it's fully bottomed out. It's not. There we go. You can see there's no gap there. Come back over here. And you just cinch up on this once you get it in the correct location that you want. Some people prefer going up at 12 o'clock. Some people prefer having it flip over to their dominant eye side. So I'm a right-handed shooter, so I'd have this come over to the right. It's just a matter of personal preference. But when it's mounted on the optic, it's got a real chunky look to it. Clearance issues might pop up for some people if you're running a high cheek riser or you're running the front objective really close to the barrel, let's say, or your front handguard. So it might pop up as being an issue, but I highly doubt it. As far as opening it though, wonderful. Look at that. Get behind it, you're looking through the scope, you peek your head up, boop, okay, make an adjustment, come back down. Nice, easy, very well situated. And another nice thing is, you don't have to worry about this thing coming loose because this is on there really, really tight. I mean, I just rotated it, but it's only because it's on the eyepiece, not the actual scope tube itself. And with the front cap mounted up as well, the scope it looks way more aggressive. Whether you like these or you don't, you have to appreciate that they are very well designed and work extremely well. I haven't really seen or heard of too many people having these fail, but if they do, I'm fairly confident that Aadland would have no problem replacing them. And that's really it. There's not a whole lot else I could say about them. Other than that, I love these things. I just recently sold my USO BFX 10X, and I had Aadland caps on that, and I just really enjoyed them. It's a great way of protecting your glass and, you know, having that extra little bit of cool factor. And especially considering if you're buying a Maven and you need caps and you need rings, for the $100 that they upcharge you on that, they are absolutely worth it. And a huge thank you to my Patreon providers and my Subscribe subscribers. Without you, this truly wouldn't be possible. If you'd like to support my channel but don't want to join either of those, I completely understand. But you could still help by using my affiliate links in the description below, and or like, share, and subscribe as always. Again, thank you very much.